Returning to your roots is always an emotional journey. That is why this video is super special to me, and I hope you, my dear viewers, will find it interesting too. My name is Sangeeta Venkatesh, and a very warm namaste, and welcome to my channel. This channel is all about history, travel, culture, heritage, and much more. And if you are new to this channel, please feel free to explore and do subscribe to the channel. So, towards the end of 2020, I lost my father and was a day late for the cremation as flights and lockdown rules were still ambiguous. The mortal remains of my father were taken to the river Hemavati and he merged with the elements of nature at his ancestral village of Gurur. Now, Gurur is a quaint little hamlet located in the Hassan district of Karnataka. Now, I belong to a sect of Tamil Brahmins who call themselves the Hebarangars. The history says that in 12th century AD, when the Vaishnava saint Ramanujacharya fled to Karnataka due to the oppression by the Chola kings in Tamil Nadu, several bands of followers also followed him and called themselves the Hebarangars, dedicating their lives to the teachings of the Guru. Now, if any of you viewers know a little more history about Hebarangas, please feel free to share it in the comments. So, when the kings in Karnataka gave them refuge, they settled down in villages by the river Kaveri and Hemavati. In fact, the very famous Belur and Halebeedu temples were constructed under the guidance of Ramanujacharya by the king Vishnuvardhana, who was earlier known as Bitti Deva. As readers may, as the viewers, you may know that Indian names have initials, and the first initial usually traces back to the place of origin of the person. And in my father's case, it was Kitane, the actual village where his ancestors came to settle. And so this video is all about Gurur, Kitane, and much more. And please stay till the end to see this video. So we left Bangalore at 5:30 a.m. and carried some packed breakfast with us. It was 9:15 a.m. when we reached Gorur, and we went straight to the Yoga Narsimha temple. Since the priest or the Vadyar had not arrived, we went to the banks of the beautiful Himavati river, which is an important tributary of the river Kaveri. The Hemavati river starts in the Western Ghats at an elevation of about 1,219 meters near Balur in Mudigere Taluk of Chikmagalur district. It flows through the Hassan district where it is joined by its chief tributary, the Yagachi river, and then into Mandya district before joining the Kaveri near Krishnarajasagara. So this is the route that the Kaveri takes and the Hemavati and with its along with its tributaries. So by the Hemavati river, we found a new Ganesha temple that had been built, newly, and which I had not seen earlier. Now, the Guru Dam is very famous, and this dam was built across the river in 1979, and it is a breathtaking sight with the vast expanse of water that resembles an ocean. Of course, this is a little distance from Gurur. So, but the central and the most famous part of Gurur is the Paravasudeva temple. Now, this temple is 1400 years old and dates back to the Vijayanagar period. The main deity in the sanctum is Paravasudeva, who is in the center. Then on the sides is Prasanna Kamala Devi, a form of Lakshmi, and the Alvar Acharyas, who are these Vaishnavite saints on either side. We can also see the image of Vedanta Desikar and Goda Devi or Andal in the Navaranga hall. Now, the stone inscriptions found in the temples informs that the temple was reconstructed in the year 1586 AD. Over time, this temple was in need of some repairs, so the reconstruction was undertaken jointly by the Dharmasala Trust and Gurur Development Trust, and it was after completion, it was inaugurated by the Jiyar of Parakal Matha. Now, a relative, Nandini, a software engineer, had made Gorur her base during the lockdown, and she is the daughter of Mr. J.N. Prakash, who is one of the trustees of the Gorur Development Board. Now, she told us that the renovation and reconstruction was done with absolute precision. Each stone that was removed was bar coded and went back to the exact place to where it belonged earlier. Wonderful, isn't it? So, after seeing this temple, we stepped out and you see an engraving of Lord Hanuman on the right exterior wall of the temple. Now, in an earlier travelogue, one of my earliest travelogues actually, on Tondanur, I have discussed about the Pancharatra Agamas. Now, the central doctrine of Pancharatra Agama is that the Supreme Being or the Absolute or the Brahman, out of loving compassion and in he love and compassion, he voluntarily assumes bodily form so that devotees may gain access to his subtle form. Now, Paravasudeva is that form of Lord Vishnu or Narayana that is the transcendental form, and he resides in the highest realms. He is omnipresent, omniscient, and is the creator of this universe and all other multiverse. While Paravasudeva is pure consciousness, Lakshmi, as the creative energy, is the cause of the material world. Then it was time for us to visit the Yoga Narsimha temple, which we had gone by by the banks of River Hemavati, which I mentioned earlier. There is a legend attached to it, and it is said that a sage called Rishi Gokarna meditated upon Lord Narsimha, and the Lord appeared before him in the form of an idol. The Narsimha idol sits in a yogic and peaceful form. Now, therefore, he is known as Yoga Narsimha. Now, this region was hence called Gokarna Kshetra, which finally, was shortened and came to be known as Gorur later on. Over time, it is said that the idol was covered by an anthill. And in a period which the timeline of which is unknown, it was believed to have been discovered by two brothers, Dodda Narsaya and Chikka Narsaya. And their families are even today, because of this discovery, they are still accorded respect here. Now, the temple was finally renovated in 1586 by a local Nayak king. The idol faces the west and has three eyes. The Gopurams has idols of Garuda, Hanuman, the avatars of Lord Vishnu, and the Ugra or the angry form of Lord Narsimha. And then there is yet another very important landmark. And just next to the Paravasudeva temple is the house of one of India's foremost literary writers, Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar, who lived from 1904 to 1991. He was born to Srinivas Iyengar and Lakshamamma in Gorur, and he was a freedom fighter, a Gandhian, a novelist who was well known for his tongue-in-cheek humor. He suffered imprisonment by the British regime in the years 1942 and 1947, and unfortunately his son Ramchandra was shot in a police firing in 1947. Guru Ramaswamy Iyengar took over the responsibility of the All India Charaka Association of Khadi in Bangalore to promote khadi and handloom textiles. He also worked to uplift the underprivileged communities. In 1980, his satirical travelogue, America Dali, Guru, that is a Guru person in America, fetched him the Kendra Sahitya Academy Award. Now, the book talks about an Orthodox Iyengar in America and makes for a delightful read. His novel Bhutayana Magga Ayyu was made into a Kannada movie of the same name by the noted director Siddhalingaya in 1975. So that is all about Gorur. But there are some must-visit places close by. And one of them is the Konapura Island, just 2 kilometers from Gorur Dam on the Hassan Arakalgud main road. This island is surrounded by the Hemavati backwaters and is pristine and idyllic. However, we also saw trash that was left behind by visitors. I so wish that we get our acts together fast as far as our civic sense is concerned. From there, going to Kitane was totally unplanned. And as I saw the GPS, I noticed that it was a mere 20 minutes from Konapura. And on a whim, we decided to drive towards Kitane, the original settlement of my forefathers. The village is located 8 kilometers away from Hassan. And when we arrived there, I inquired with some villagers if there were any Iyengar families still left in the village, and they directed me to go to Jayana's Angadi or Jayana's shop. And I was, in the attempt of finding if there were any long lost relatives. This is what I embarked upon. So at the shop, which is an extension of the residence, we were met by Srimati Anantalakshmi. The beauty of rural India is its warmth and hospitality. Srimati Anantalakshmi insisted that we eat lunch with her, to which I politely declined, but it was indeed so sweet of her to offer. However, according to custom, she offered me haldi kumkum, tambulam of betel leaf, jaggery, areca nut, along with a blouse piece. My heart was indeed brimming with joy to have visited this land of my ancestors. Do you have a similar story? I would love to hear from you. From where do you all come? Which part of the world, which part of India do you all come from? I mean, the ancestral village that you know till date. I mean, we don't know where we have originated from, but there's some kind of history or recording is there from where we originate, and it just connects you to the roots. And with that, I end today's video. It has been my pleasure bringing in my roots to you. So look forward to hearing from you, and I will see you very soon. Namaste.